So this teacher of 20 years is creating his farewell video to his audience because he's quitting teaching after 20 years of being in the profession, which is bananas. But I'm going to go ahead and let him jump into.
This is a video I've tried to shoot about a half a dozen times, and well, it's not an easy one, but it is the truth. You read that thumbnail right. I am no longer in the classroom, and I want to talk about why.
So in the video, he gets into his reasoning why he's quitting the profession, and it resonated with me so well as to why I started my own business, with things changing as a teacher and not being able to be the teacher that I wanted to be for my students, and also supporting teachers within the school system.
Look, this channel, we named it Real Rap with Reynolds because real rap is what my students would refer to as like having real talk with me about any number of given subjects. And so when we created the YouTube channel, we wanted this idea of real talk around education, around what it's like to be in education, to be an educator inside and outside of the classroom, and what it might be like to become the teacher that you are called to be. And so with that in mind, I want to just be really transparent without being gossipy and explain what happened, what's next, and well, that about sums it up. Teaching has been my calling for almost 20 years. I have a whole other video on why I became a teacher, and I can link that in the description box below if you're interested. But it is really been something I have been called to do. And so I started out in Camden, New Jersey. I then, about 12 years ago, went to West Philadelphia, and I've been at that school, and that's what everything you've seen on my YouTube channel has drawn from that experience. In 2019-2020 school year, just before the pandemic, a number of things started happening in our school, and that culminated in the top level leadership being let go, and then subsequently a number of other leadership positions, like folks in leadership positions being fired as well, and then a number of other folks kind of seeing that pattern jumping ship. And so in that first half year that we were doing virtual, in that first part of 2020, about 60% of our staff was either fired or quit. And so going back into the next year, we had all new administration. And so the short of this is, it was my entire support staff that I was, almost the entire support staff, I won't say everyone, that I was around from day to day, that supported me, that helped me support students, that I helped them do things as well, that completely disappeared. That was a really hard thing to show back up to. As we say all the time, teaching is a communal activity, which is one thing, right? But trying to rebuild that, trying to figure new things out, trying to figure out a solution to this new problem was what was on my mind. And so we went back to school, and I will say that in the last 3 years, I think we had 5 principals. And so that's a lot of new leadership, it's a lot of new ideas, it's a lot of new implementation. And that led to, in short, last year, by March, I think it was, there were, I think it was somewhere in like the 50, like at least 50% of our staff had left just last year. That's 2021-2022 school year. And then by the end of the year, 95% of the staff quit. So the idea of returning back to a school with that much turnover was one thing in and of itself. But the school that you've seen on YouTube for all of these years is in large part non-existent anymore. The building's still there, students still go to that school, but the heart of what that school was no longer exists. And what I mean by that is there were a number of decisions that were made that, to me, right, this is a me, this isn't, different people have different ways of measuring things. There were a number of decisions that were made that were unethical, that took us from this vision of what the school was created for, took us far away from that vision, and there were things that I just could not get behind any longer.
And a lot of educators like myself and Mr. Reynolds, who are veteran educators and know what education, real education, looks like, it's a lot of stuff that we can't get behind. And when I watched this video, I felt that because I have found myself also in that position fighting the school district with best practices, just different kinds of things that, are I shouldn't have to do because we're on the same team. So in his explanation as to why he quit teaching after 20 years, I felt that a lot because that's currently how I feel and why I have started to create this venture or adventure for teachers like Mr. Reynolds, myself, to create our own platforms, to create our own workshops, and to be that teacher that he talks about in this video.
And enough things that were important enough to me that I just couldn't be behind any longer. Not until June of last year did I let the school know that I would not be returning for the following school year. So I packed up all of my stuff. I took down the room that you've seen for years on YouTube, and I left. So to me, the big piece isn't that I left the classroom. The bigger piece is what is next. And so 6 years ago, we started this YouTube channel, right, which was just something that my son wanted me to do at first, and then
So for all of the educators that have left the classroom, and you may be watching this, looking for a sign, saying, what am I supposed to do next? And much like Mr. Reynolds, because obviously he's not eligible for retirement, not yet, not at 20 years. So what is next in your path? One of the things that I feel strongly about is creating your own platform. And I believe that this is an opportunity for veteran educators to start hosting their own workshops, hosting training for the teachers that are here. Veteran teachers have been pushed out of public education because they know that veteran educators, much like Mr. Reynolds, much like myself, we envision education in a way as a calling. It has become something that it was not supposed to be. It has become very political. We have politicians telling teachers how to do their job, and that's not what education is. So if you're looking for your next steps, you can find them here because much like me when I was discontent, I know that you're feeling that discontentment, that disconnectedness with the public school system, but you more than likely don't know where to start. And if you're watching this video, then you're in the right place.